Domande inutili. Lavoro in da Svizzera.
As always in waste management, we have to differentiate. Recycling is not always better than incineration. It's not always better. For instance, it is very beneficial economically and ecologically to recycle paper. Very clear. Recycling of paper is very beneficial. But it doesn't make sense to recycle 100% of the paper. Because with every cycle, the paper fiber gets smaller. So at the very end, the fibers don't serve for paper anymore. They serve only for energy purposes. Or, I mentioned this example, recycling of plastic that contains cadmium, in my opinion, is not a beneficial process. Plastic, heavily stabilized, belongs into an incinerator. So we really have to differentiate, and again, this is a job for a university to develop methodologies to evaluate different waste management schemes, and then private enterprise should apply this methodology to find the best scheme for the Napoli region. Economic mechanism. The economic mechanism in waste incineration is very clear. The energy which we produce in an incinerator, of course, it is being sold. If it is sold as heat, the incinerator earns more than when it is sold as electricity. Of course, the process of incineration is much more expensive, it's much more costly than the return of the energy. That's the whole issue. In Vienna, at the moment, they are trying to increase the revenue. In the winter, they produce heat. They have done this for a long time. It's very good income. In the summer, they produce electricity. The income is lower. But now, because of global warming, they produce cooling in the summer. And they transport in the heating system. In the summer, they produce cooling and transport the coolants to the individual homes, so people can benefit from waste incineration by cooling. But again, the return on investment is much, much smaller than what it costs, and therefore, and we have to explore. We reduce the volume. We reduce the volume by a factor of 10. So those two arguments are the main arguments for incineration, reduction of volume by factor 10. So we need 10 times less landfills, and to produce a more stable material for the landfill. That's the main issue. And then we use some energy to reduce the bill at the very end. Third point, Switzerland. It's not the government in Switzerland. You must fight for a clean incinerator. Fight for a clean incinerator.
Does it exist at all? Please? Does it exist at all, a clean incinerator? Does it exist at all?
Of course.
Yes, but it is not the incinerator or shed.
Excuse me. What about nanoparticles? What about dioxins? What about?
Forget nanoparticles. That's, you're exposed every day to nanoparticles. If you have something.
So why produce even more nanoparticles? Why produce even more nanoparticles?
No, be rational. Be rational. You're exposed to 100% of nanoparticles, and incinerators are maybe 1 or 2% of your nanoparticles. So fight the problem where it is, at the nanoparticle, not the
solution. Do we have a solution which avoids nanoparticles?
Sorry?
Abbiamo chiesto un'intervista, abbiamo chiesto.
Just particolare
abbiamo chiesto un'intervista.
Ho capito, ma non sto parlando di
Che tu sei iniziato? interessata, visto che mi intervistano. Non fa sembra chiuso.
What is the question?
They didn't get differentiated at all. It's exactly, we sent two
Everything
incinerators,
inside.
one in Germany, one in Italy, and they send us back because there is radioactive waste. And can an incinerator burn such undifferentiated waste without any ecological problem? No, because I know how it works in Austria. I live in Berlin, and I know how in Germany it works. And it's pre-treated the waste before the incineration.
I mean, if you expect that there is radioactive material in there, then you have to test it. You have to test each single bowl. The other hazardous materials in there can be handled by a municipal incinerator, but not the radioactive material. So you would have to test it, and that's
Like
costly.
medical waste.
Medical waste is no problem.
Pneumatic from
it's no
waste.
problem. No, not from municipal incinerator. It's really not a problem. Really, because it's only 1% of the total amount. But this was your one question. I'm very sorry
Yeah, it's
if you don't mind.
one question.